Hey everyone, and welcome back to BeamNG.drive. In the last video, did some time trials, and it didn't go the greatest. Kept crashing, kept destroying the alignment, stuff like that. So, didn't quite get as far as I wanted to in the last episode, but we're going to continue on with time trials and stuff in this one. We are doing... what is this one again? I always forget as soon as I start recording. Old Mill Loop. So the old mill is actually down over there. In the last episode, where I flew off the road with the Jeep, or the hopper, that was the mill. So, we're starting up at these ruins, which I'm gonna step out of the car for a moment. I actually kind of like these ruins, kind of cool. Every place tells a story. Not necessarily in video games, sometimes it's just placed to look cool or whatever, kind of fill in the scene, but everyone plays a story. Everyone, but everywhere and every place has a story. Gamester. By the way, yeah, I wonder what kind of story this place would, say. Are these like the devs' names on it? That'd be pretty cool too. These look like the dev names that are on it. Oh, there's another one. Jane Mini 2019. Those are definitely like usernames or something. Kind of funny. By the way, 928 art. 928's Porsche, is it? Yeah. I've never actually taken a close-up look at these, and it looks like there's a Dual Pepper of the life you live. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. You gotta look at everything. Check out everything. There's something everywhere. Even if it's just an odd pixel or an amazing looking piece of moss. Inside joke from a friend of mine, but still. Watch gaming moments and listen for this moss looks amazing kind of thing. You'll understand. But either way, let's get into the racing. A gravel loop around mesas and canyons starting at the old mill. Player vehicle. Have to use player vehicle. I should use my scintilla, that'd be fun. Laps 2. Nice. Okay. Old mill loop. And then typical oops. As I slide the chair by accident. Typical time trial stuff. So let's just get into it. This is actually most of the loop I take to test my rally cars, so this should go pretty well. I do typically go the other way, so this is in reverse from what I'm used to, but this should go well, especially if I actually focus. Something in my eyeball distracting me. But my typical rally loop is from the airfield, and then I come up this loop, but the other way, and then usually come up here rather than down, because the corner at the ruins that was behind the car, for some reason I typically carry too much speed and end up flying off of it. So I like to go the other way a bit more, because for some reason I can usually get around the corner going the other way. Right there is the start of the ridge line crawl for the side of the cliff. I'm used to coming up here and then down this lower spot. Typically I come from the airfield and go up that hill, because this loop is quite fun. Oh, there's the old mill over there, I think. This was supposed to start at the old mill, but I don't think it did. Either way, this is a really fun loop to do, especially starting from the airfield and then going back to the airfield. You can typically only do, it's more of a sprint that way, because you have to go back over the same road you came up past the sheriff's place. But aside from only being able to really do one car at a time on a sprint, or multiple cars with a sprint, one car if it's a loop, but either way it's pretty fun. This is where I tend to go off, just like that. I don't know why, but every time I fall off there. Every time. Which is why I tend to go the other way. But I'm going to try my Quintella for once. Ooh. Car's not happy. Where is it? There it is. I believe I've shown this in videos, but I don't think I've ever actually used it in a video. And everything in my configuration pack is supposed to be in a video at some point, so... Bit of a warning, this car is fairly loud, so you might want to adjust your volume. I also have no idea how well this is going to go, so I'm just going to jump into it and hope it goes well. I'll leave it in sport mode on the gearbox, so I don't have to worry about shifting. And this does not have the handling of the FCV. I am not used to driving this thing at all. Okay. I'll restart one more time with this. Because I'd really like to use this for a race. This thing does handle pretty well, it's just I'm not used to how it handles. It's big and heavy, really. And it doesn't turn in nearly as well as the FCV, so I gotta... There we go. A bit better. It's a lot harder to seal the windshield. It's one thing I don't like about a lot of cars, especially supercars, is the windshield. Yes, they have fairly big windshields, but they're on such an angle for the aerodynamics that the actual space you're looking out of ends up being pretty small. I felt like that when I drove a, what was it, 2003-ish Mustang. I felt like it was really small inside. The windows were too small. Now that we're on this more open part, a lot better. I tend to go off here now and then as well, so I'm going to try and keep my speed down a bit. It's definitely slower than the FCV, but it's more interesting. If I had the V10 in it, it'd be a lot faster, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to have the V8 in this one. And then I've spent way too long tuning the suspension. This should handle better than the vanilla one, especially over bumps and stuff. I find the vanilla one doesn't have very much wheel travel and it's way too stiff, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've driven it. So, this one might not have much more suspension travel, but it should be a lot better. And I'm not sure if I have the straight pins on it or not. Nope, it's got the normal exhaust on it. whereas the vanilla one has a axe on it for some reason. Another thing, oh, that's a good spot to have it in normal manual. Don't fall off the edge this time. I'm gonna go a little bit slow. But that's another thing. The scintilla of all vehicles, the off-road variant, can have an LED light bar, but the Hopper and D series don't. Just makes no sense to me. Alright, I'm going to focus the rest of this lap so we can just get this over with without crashing and listen to the car. It's not every day you see or hear a car like this on a round stage. There we go. Much, much better. It is a really fun car to drive. It has quite a bit of understeer still, and it needs some better tuning in general. But this is a really fun car to drive. I really like it. By the way, on to the next mission. To River Rally. Ooh. Wasn't this one originally done with a hopper? And then they changed it to the trophy truck? Their vehicle, reverse, no. Fast-paced rally along the river featuring many water crossings. I'm going to try and stick with the scintilla. Stick with the scintilla, see how it goes. River rally, typical rally stuff, so let's get into it. I'm going to use a manual gearbox this time. The last race I ended up switching it into quote-unquote manual mode just because there's a couple times where it would shift sooner than I wanted it to, but this car technically would just glide across the top of the water because the bottom of it's flat. But for some reason in Beam, water likes to grab cars. I remember back when the water didn't even do anything. No splash, no drag, nothing. I should do one of these races and then use the vanilla version of this and compare the two. See which one really is better. But I could have sworn this used to be done with a hopper. Oops. And there goes the engine. Great! Okay. I am going to switch vehicles. It's hydro-locked still, so it won't let me start it. Thankfully, it's on a hill. What would be better for this? Probably more of like a straight-up normal rally car. But I would like to use my Baja hopper. Because why not? I would use my modded hopper, but I'm trying to not use mods while I play through all these. This should be interesting. This thing's also pretty loud, so I might want to adjust your volume again. Alrighty, I'm likely going to try and just focus this time as well, so let's see how this goes. Righty. That definitely would have been faster with a normal rally car, but I feel like the hopper handled the water a lot better than rally car would have. So, either way, that's River Rally. Next is Hoopty X Utah, and then Sunshine Sprint. Ooh, this will be interesting. Goes along the like old kind of abandoned road, and then across and up along the higher spot beside the highway, then back down, round. I wonder what vehicle it's going to use. The Wendover. Really? Alright, finish in 540, 520, and 5, 2 laps. Should go well. Alrighty, BoopTX Utah Gambler 500. In this timed run, you will need to make 2 laps of the circuit. There's a section of fast asphalt, so prepare for some varied traction. And then typical time trial stuff. Like, I would love to be able to take some of these parts and put them on different vehicles. Like, those lights would be perfect on the front of the hopper. The bar above the roof, these on the bumper. But then there's also vehicles or parts in the vehicles that aren't used, so we'll see what they end up doing. I've also slowly been learning how to mod, so we'll see how that goes. And I do like the Wendover, but as usual, my variants. I have a typical Turbo's Fave variant or configuration, and then a drift one. I've never really used this off-road or for like rally or anything. So hopefully it does well. I would love to be able to use those taillights on something else too. And there goes the oil pan. Pretty sure this has a skid plate. It shouldn't have taken out the oil pan so easily. Maybe not. That is another thing that I really don't get, is some of the vehicles with skid plates, it's way too easy to take out the oil pan. Like with the Rock Basher, I think it's called. Oh, chicane. I'm not used to a chicane here. Nice little addition, though. This is actually a fun little circuit. Quite enjoying this so far. It is a good mix between dirt and asphalt. And then having that little chicane section made it a little bit more interesting. Rather than just being a straight road, and it keeps your speed down for the corner right after it, which is really easy to go too fast and fly off of. Alright, let's see how fast I can do this map. Especially with oil pan gone. It's starting to overheat. I don't know if it's going to make it through the whole course. Like, I'm full throttle, and it's not happy. I find typically when you take out the oil pan, if you're careful, you can keep going until you physically stop. You'll just be down a little bit on power. I just can't let the engine stop. It's only a 4-speed? I feel like this is only a 4-speed, which doesn't help any. Rods. At least the bearings. Don't die on me, come on. Oh. And then everything on the roof catches up. At the end of a race or mission, just after you cross the line, it teleports your car to the little, like the scene that we just saw when you go through your stats and whatnot. It teleports your car a little bit to that spot. So things like what's on the roof will just kind of not be in the roof anymore, sliding across the ground like they were. Yeah, this does not have a skid plate. I'm surprised. So no wonder it took out the oil pan. Wiggly teeth on the front. I typically don't like the gambler stuff, but there is something about this car that I kind of like. By the way, last mission for Utah. I did skip the garage to garage and the bus routes just because they're boring. It's boring to watch. So, yeah, all the main actual missions are pretty much done. So, go all out along the short and fast route to the airfield. 140, 120, and 1 minute and 10 minutes. You have to use the bolide. Should be interesting. I also made my own version of the bolide that's a bit better. So Sunshine Sprint Gambler 500. Feel the heat of the blazing sun as you speed towards the airfield. You can use full throttle on the straights, but watch out for the blind and tight turns at the halfway point. Typical time trial stuff. This should be interesting. Especially using this car. It would be nice to have a bit more tunability with this car. I believe this variant uses lifted coilovers and not the rally. The rally ones are way more adjustable, but they don't get the same height. Whereas these get a better height, but they're not adjustable, I don't think. Bit of an annoying trade-off. Especially if you're trying to make a variant of this actually handle well. Uh-oh. And for being a 6x6, or a 4x6x2, it doesn't handle the greatest. Not surprisingly. Definitely could have gotten a better time if I didn't spin out on that one corner. I always blow my tires on that rock. Every time. Oh! I did get under a minute and 40. 20... Ooh. Okay, so yeah, I only got one start, but that's fine. As I've said many times before, this time around in the missions, I was just trying to complete them all. So, that being said, that is the end of Utah. At least for now. Next are the missions on West Coast USA. So I will be doing those alongside career mode until they are done. And then I will likely go through them all again and actually post like the best time that I can and take them a lot more seriously than I did this time. But either way, as always, if you have any questions, any tips or tricks, anything you want me to check out, feel free to leave it in the comments below. And as always, I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.